Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and I got a show for you today, and we are all about justice. Not just justice, but rough justice. That is our song today, so let's get right to it. The thing that's cool about a riff like this is you can go in so many different directions. It's very universal. It sets a tone and it sets a tempo, but it doesn't really lock you into, here's this really complicated, complex riff, and we're going to base the song around that. So that's great because you can really go in a lot of different directions. There's nothing too telltale about it just yet. But it sounds good, doesn't it? They're getting a great tone. Love the way that the organ blends with the guitar in the second half of that part. But we're just off to a good start. Drums sound nice and powerful, so I know we're going to get a good mix there. And we'll see what happens next.
The gates have opened, now I'm a free man. My time is over, I need a new plan. But I've had no loving for a year and a day. My lady's waiting, got a taste for her wine. She's wearing money, but none of it's mine. She's been surviving while I've been wasting away. Back in my room, it ain't quite the same. You can't hide it, I'm on it.
Boy, that bass drum sounds nice and big, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's in the same panning section as the vocals, so it is intruding on the vocals a little bit. Fortunately, the vocals are in a little bit higher of a register, so they're cutting through somewhat. But man, another, powerful delivery. Like you really feel like you're just getting out of this horrible, suffocating enclosure, and you've been looking forward to something for all this time, and you're finally about to get it. There's that excitement. There's that I still haven't let go of where I just came from feel that would be so natural. It's, you don't just walk out and it's over. There's memories. There's, the feeling that you're about to turn around and go back in, that this can't be real. All that stuff would happen in a situation like this. But the music sounds great. The drums are just solid. I love this new style of Lee Kerslake's that he's found on this album. Again, some of the fills that he's playing are just so different and unique from what he's done in the past. He's really reinvented himself, and I just love that. But a very powerful song for sure. It's a cool chorus. I have to say that's got to be a double tracking from Bernie. That just sounds, much thicker than normal. But he sounds so good at that frequency. I really like that. There's these little fill-ins that Mick is doing, and the bass is cutting through a little bit. But, man, the drums are just kind of killing the overall volume of this song. Can't really hear what the backing vocals are saying, unfortunately. Maybe you guys can make it out. I can't. It's just buried in that drum sound, especially now that he's switched to the ride. The ride is more in tune with vocal frequencies. So now they're fighting for that space again. So, but the song itself, the performance, the writing, this is good stuff.
Freedom of movement.
Unless Phil's just playing chords along with Mick, which is very possible, I can't hear what he's doing. That would be a very likely possibility, but I'm not hearing any keyboard sounds come through. I am hearing a little bit of the bass. It's playing along nicely with the song. Just got a nice little groove going. The song doesn't need a whole lot of fanciness during the verses. I think the vocals really carry it, because when you've got a singer that sings this strong, you really don't need to add a whole lot everywhere. You pick your spots, you strategize where the song is going to, not necessarily need more support, but could just use sometimes a little bit of color or flavor. And, when you got a guy like Bernie, who's just solid the whole time, I mean, such passion, such drive in his vocals, you don't need a whole lot else. But then when you've got the kind of talent in the band that you have, you're not going to hold that talent back because you got a great vocalist. So it's really a matter of finding that blend of how much musicianship versus vocals you're going to have in a song. And that's got to be tough when you got such talent in a band like these guys. Well, and then contrary to what I just said, there's Mick kind of going off behind the whole chorus there. And what I can make out sounds pretty good. But again, a lot of it is just lost in the mix, unfortunately. But I can hear little bits of it cut through where those frequencies open up. And it sounds like he's playing as we would expect Mick to play. Just those wonderful little fill-ins that he does. But it's hard to tell the whole part of what he's contributing here because we just can't hear it. But again, strong vocals, backing vocals sound good, but the clarity, I think, is a little bit lost on them. I can't tell what they're saying still. But overall, still a powerful song. Now, that was a great unexpected twist. Did not expect any kind of stoppage in the drive of the song, but what a beautiful transition that was. I mean, just smooth as could be, very well mixed too. I love that section. That sounded fantastic. I realized too that there is a tambourine in the song and it's been playing for a while. And I think that too is also, it was kind of a necessary to me. I think the song moves just fine without it. And again, because of the way it was mixed, it's tapping into some of those more, vocal and guitar frequencies. So not a fan of the tambourine in this particular song, but I will say that was a great solo section. I love that whole piece right there. Really nice change of pace and a great segue back into the verse. Very smooth. So you could hear, now that the cymbals are gone, a little more clarity. You could hear what Mick is playing a little bit better. Vocals are not being intruded upon by anything. We've got a cowbell, which is always nice, when you have those those parts where they kind of just change the game up a little bit. And I think it sounds really good. The cowbell's kind of subtle, but I like it. You get enough to hear it, to feel it, for it to keep the groove, but it's not, obnoxiously loud in the mix, which is great. I think that volume level is really perfect. But you could hear what Mick is doing now, what he was doing during the choruses, and it sounds really good. Well, that was kind of a quick fade. I didn't expect that so much. But again, once all the music kicked in again, you couldn't really hear what Mick was playing solo-wise. And part of that also is the rhythm guitar track. I still really could not hear any keyboards except for in the beginning. So I love to credit Phil for what he was doing, but I really couldn't hear anything specifically. And it could have just been, like I said, he was just backing the guitars up with some chords that just blended in very nicely and weren't anything that needed to stand out. The song definitely sounded thick. There's no doubt about that. There was no lack of sound or presence in the song whatsoever. But it had a good pace. I think that was a great tempo that they picked for it. I think any faster or slower would have given it just a completely different feel. So I think they locked it in just right. And it's weird because it almost sounds like the chorus almost sounds kind of happy because the voice is just, in that register that makes you feel like things are upwards, uplifting. But it was just a very strong delivery. And I love that Bernie can sing in that range and sing with such confidence and power. He sounds really good there. That's a wheelhouse, I think, for him. But overall, I mean, great performance from Lee Kerslake. We got incredible bass playing on this one. Really strong. Didn't do anything that I heard that was too crazy, but it was very solid. Really locked in with the drums and just sounded really strong and exactly what it needed to be for a song like this. Wish I could have heard a little more about what the backups were doing. Wish I could have heard a little more of Mick's soloing under the chorus. But overall, I think the song itself is great, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they put it on the album. So that is our show for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. I hope you like this song. I hope that you listen to it again later today. You can listen to it on your drive home and really get that blood pumping so that you can do whatever it is you want to do when you get home instead of what most of us do, which is just collapse from exhaustion and all the things that we planned on doing just start falling by the wayside. This is a good energy song. This is a song that you can, tap the steering wheel. You can, tap your foot when you're at your desk or in your chair watching football, whatever you're doing. And just kind of draw that energy in because it's a great song. It's got real power to it. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magicians Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!